who said he didn't want me to be an anchor. He wanted me to be a reporter because when he looks at me, he thinks of other Hispanic reporters like John Quinones.
You think that's a conscious thing that Stewart and left-wing liberals or whatever do?
No, I don't.
Because he's on the same side as you on immigration.
No, I don't. I don't think it's a conscious thing.
But he's on the same side.
I just gave you your answer. I don't think it's a conscious thing.
And then I didn't listen and went further.
Exactly. I just think it's important that people who are not minorities understand that those of us who are, and very few of us will say the things that I've just said, are actually more complex than they think we are, and we get
Stewart's
them.
a minority as much as you are.
Come on. How is he a minority? Yeah. Yeah.
Rick.
Very powerless people.
Whoa.
But you're such a minority. I mean, please. What are you kidding?
You're telling me that
I'm telling you that everybody who runs CNN is a lot like Stewart. And a lot of people who run all the other networks are a lot like Stewart. And to imply that somehow the people in this country who are Jewish, are an oppressed minority? Yeah.
They have a history of oppression, no?
No question about that.
They can't relate to that?
I grew up in Miami. Every one of my best friends was Jewish. What are you talking about?
They can't relate to that? A Jewish person doesn't always have a constant fear in the back of their head that
I think his father could. I think his father could.
I think every Jewish person feels that way.
I hope so.
Of all the Jewish people I talk to, I have a good buddy of mine. He was so paranoid about this whole mosque thing because it is, and you hear Bloomberg and other Jews coming out and defending it because it's when are they coming for us again?
Yeah.
So I disagree with you.
I think
I'm not Jewish and I'm not Puerto Rican. I have had every privilege.
But hold on a minute.
It's not easy being bald.
Just because someone's Jewish, they're not capable of being prejudicial? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm saying just because...
Because if that's your only defense...
No, I'm saying Jewish people can relate to oppression.
I just don't think... I'm not... When I say that about like someone like Jon Stewart, somebody way out to the left, that they can be prejudicial... I'm not saying it has anything the fact that they're Jewish or not Jewish, first of all. I mean, you brought the whole Jewish conversation into this. I don't think Jewish has anything to do with this. I don't think you're less apt to be prejudiced or more apt to be prejudiced because you are Jewish.
I brought it in because you brought in your ethnicity.
I'm talking about our differences in the way we grew up in our lives. Yes, I grew up not speaking English, dealing with real prejudice every day as a kid, watching my dad work in a factory, wash dishes, drive a truck, get spit on. I've been told that I can't do certain things in life simply because I was a Hispanic. My friends who are black, I've seen that with them. I've seen that with a lot of minorities. I can't really think, although I understand the plight of Jews and all the experiences and the things that have happened historically for them. But I can't say that my buddy Glenn or my buddy Izzy, who I grew up with in South Florida, ever were prejudiced against directly simply because they were Jewish. There may have been jokes around them or about other things, but it's kind of, you know what I'm saying?
No,
it's kind of a little different thing.
I don't, and I'll tell you why I don't.
I can't see somebody not getting a job somewhere because they're Jewish. Not in this day and age.
Well, then you've never been to Nebraska. But I'll tell you why I don't relate to that. I'll tell you why I don't.
You know what? That's actually a good point.
I'm not going to sit here. But you've been sheltered in where you grew up, and you now work and live in the. I mean, listen, Rick Sanchez can't walk down the street anymore, so you got a chip on your shoulder, and I'm not blaming you for it, but you've done pretty well, and the fact this has been by the way, it wasn't given to me. It certainly wasn't, and no one is implying that. No one is implying that. But I'll tell you. Let me just say something quickly as an aside. I thought this was going to be 15 minutes, me and you. Yeah. And I haven't heard anything from my producer. But we don't do commercials here, which is awesome. but it's been a great conversation. It's really been really cool getting to know you. But I'm just saying, I'm transparent and I'm real, and that's all. I hope you haven't taken anything. I appreciate your honesty, and I think in context it'll be interesting to see if Stewart ever responds to this. But I hope he does. But I have you ever laid into him like this anywhere? Just on the air lately. But I don't respect the guy. My point is, I don't relate to blacks, Hispanics, Jews, gays, anything. I am a white American, and I have never dealt with any of that. I mean, kind of relate a little bit. Which is kind of like my point, though, Pete. There's too many people out there who never. But that doesn't mean. Look at walk in my shoes for a day. But that doesn't mean I can't make fun of it. I'm a comedian. Yeah, I have to make fun of stereotypes. I think I come out on the right side of the jokes. But if if I can't make jokes, if I can't take shots at people for the sake of comedy, And I'm not, I'm wrong when I say, I was wrong when earlier I said he's just a comedian. He is a newsman to some extent. I agree with you. I was wrong about that. But I mean, in essence, that's what we do. And I'm defending Stewart more from a comedian's point of view.
That.
We don't think.
I get that. And for all I know, his stuff, he doesn't even write. I mean, he could be his staff who doesn't like me.
No, listen, I know his staff. He's got a pretty diverse staff, but I don't know if there's any Hispanic writers, to be fair and honest. But anyway, just as a comedian, I want to tell you something, because I think this might help. It might not. You might not give a rat's ass. We don't think very much about people's feelings. We think about being funny. I can't tell you how many nights I've been driving away from a gig going, you know what? That probably wasn't right. And mine were even worse, because I'll take a specific thing in the room. Some woman won't shut up. And I'm not talking about her race. I'm talking about, you are the most annoying woman I've ever met in my life. And I really lay into her for a joke. We lower others to raise ourselves. That's how we make a living. And we're not thinking, I'm certainly not thinking about Rick Sanchez, who's got 4 hours on CNN every day's feelings. If I'm Jon Stewart, I'm not speaking
for
for
his
John.
Kids or anybody else.
No,
really. You should. You should. I do in my job. Every time I have to tell a story about somebody, the first thing I ask myself is, how would I like it if somebody said this about me? That's the first thing that I ask. I don't see that when I watch Colbert or Jon Stewart. They just skewer people mercilessly. And they don't give a damn. And they walk away. And you know what? If they were just comedians, it would be great. But unfortunately, their show has transcended comedy. It is now more important than Walter Cronkite. So it's like we're living in a generation where Walter Cronkite's out there cracking on people.
Is that because you guys aren't doing your job well enough?
Probably.
Okay. Rick, I gotta go because I gotta take a moment here, but I really enjoyed getting to know you. I mean, I really do, and I appreciate your honesty, and I think you're really ballsy, man. I really do. I respect it.
Yeah.
I do. I have a newfound respect for you.
I like being real and transparent.
You turn on the TV and it pours information into your ear, and it's sound bites. And, I'm not trying to hurt Rick's list. I'm not trying to hurt CNN. We get a paycheck from them. But people...
and we can't give you everything in a 30-second story. I mean, sometimes we have to decide, we're going to do 40 stories in this hour, and one of them has to be the 30-second story. You think I'm going to give you everything in those 30 seconds? I mean, we work hard to give you as much information as we can, but there's so much nuance out there that most people don't take in, don't listen to, don't understand. And it is important to know these things. Look, I mean, just know who's giving, if nothing else, know who's giving you the information. Yeah. Fox News, for example. And I talk about this in Conventional Idiocy. Why does Fox News deliver the message that it does? Because it's a business model. It is a business model. The business model is very simple. There's a bunch of angry white guys out there. So we need to program to them. And the angrier we get them, the more viewers we'll have. And they were already angry to begin with, so we'll give them even a little more nudging. Like, we'll make sure we have at least 3 stories in every O'Reilly Factor that involves black teenagers who are in a hip-hop band with their underwear sticking out of their pants. Because if we do that, we'll get them angrier and they'll watch more often. Yeah. We'll do another story on a Hispanic somewhere who got into an accident or beat up some white guy's daughter. See, these stories don't appear by magic. They're there for a purpose.
Why do Hispanics beat up white guys' daughters exclusively?
I don't know. It's a passion
but you're
thing.
right. But here's my question, because you've been in television for a long time, and and I want to maintain my integrity when I ask this question, and I know it might sound a conflict of interest for me, being on TV and getting even deeper into TV. But listen, CNN we don't do as well as Fox in the ratings, but the reason they do so well is because of the reasons you just gave, the race baiting, the
it's a great business model.
Right. But politicians are no different, because politicians say things, buzzwords, to get elected. So television does things to get ratings. Politicians say things to get elected. Your show has an element of entertainment. You have to cover some things that aren't changing the world, a car chase, a this and a that. How much do you have to compromise and do things that, while they're fun and they're entertaining, they're not having an impact. They're not making us smarter.
It's all about a very simple question that you usually learn from your parents if you have good parents. Be fair, and always make sure that whenever you say or do something about someone, ask yourself if that's what you'd want said or done about you. It's very simple. I mean, bottom line is, Sure, we do everything we can to get the viewers to watch. And if there's a great video out there of something that has that lean-in factor, we're going to use it. But that's different from coming out there and saying, you know what, we're going to make sure we do only the stories that make white men angry, because that way, at the expense of the other demographics. If it makes black people look lazy, so what? We'll get more white people to watch. If it makes Hispanic looks like they're all a bunch of freeloaders, so what? Even if it's not true, we'll get more white people to watch.